Live from New York, this is WIUR Radio.
There we go. Am I good now? I think I'm good. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Adams. Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Adams. Sorry for a little interruption there. Welcome to Generic Talking Sports Show, GTSS, episode number 3. I had to miss last week because I lost my voice, couldn't speak. A little bit of a bummer that I couldn't rant about the Mets for 34 minutes, but here we are now to do that here. We have a couple big topics today. The MLB postseason rattles on without my Mets, and the Yankees soon won't be involved in there either. And hockey season starts in 3 hours, and I could not be more excited for the first time in quite a long time. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about, and I think we will start with the Yankees, since they're the biggest talking point right now. The Yankees are kind of in. It's not their year. It's plain and simple. It is the Blue Jays. They look unbeatable. I mean, Cam Schittler, I can't say his name, and it sounds really bad if I knew, so I'm not going to say it anymore. Schlittler, there we go. Schlittler had one of the best performances in Yankees postseason history, and it's already been forgotten about because Trey Savage made everybody look like an idiot on the mound, and 11 strikeouts, and I believe it was only like 5 innings. Let me just make sure of that. Just absolutely dominant. And then Vladdy put it to bed when he hit the grand slam. That just completely iced it. They do play tonight at 8 o'clock in Yankee Stadium, and they have been in this situation before. Remember back in, I believe it was 2018, they were down 0-2 against Cleveland. It might have been 2017. Yeah, it was 2017. Excuse me. Back in 2017, they were down 0-2 to Cleveland and went back home, won 2 straight, won Game 5 in Cleveland. And could they do it again? Maybe. And the only way they do that is if Judge wakes up. It's as simple as that. The guy's a disappear. The guy does not show up. He sucks. And it's like, does he even deserve the MVP anymore? Because he's not hitting. He's not being the most valuable player anymore. He's just simply not. Like, I've watched a lot of Yankee games, even though I'm not a Yankee fan, because my parents are Yankee fans, and I live with them. So, I've watched so many Yankee games, and I've seen Judge look just one of the greatest hitters of all time. I've seen him in person. It's incredible what he does. Every game in, game out in regular season. Watching him take pitches that are tough, watching him just crush the baseball like nobody's ever done it. And then when the lights are bright, every year, like there has not been one standout playoffs for Judge. It's not like a situation where one player has a good postseason, has like at least one good postseason in their career. He has had nothing. He had one highlight last year, I would argue, and a lot of lowlights. And I mean, one of the lowlights is dropping a ball that led to the Dodgers comeback and winning the game. Like, he has not had that moment. He had a good moment against Cleveland last year, and that's it. That's really all I can think of. What has it been? The Yankees would be probably winning the World Series if he hit like he hits in the regular season. He doesn't. The base is loaded. I believe it was nobody out. You strike out on a pitch that I've never seen him swing at. He swung at stuff like that when he was a rookie, when he was still getting the hang of everything. He's not swinging at stuff like that when he's winning MVPs. The pressure gets to him, and it's very obvious. The starter for tonight, I don't know. It might be Schlittler. No, it's Rodon. Excuse me. Rodon against Bieber. So I believe they're doing a bullpen game because I don't think Bieber has pitched a lot of innings. Yeah, he only pitched 40 innings. So they're doing a most likely. The Blue Jays are doing a bullpen game. If you get back, you have to get back in the series. It's as simple as that. Blue Jays bullpen is good, but still, you need to get like your head in the game. This is do or die now. You need to recreate 2017. Um, but like even if they do, I don't think this team is good enough. I think I think Seattle personally. I think Seattle's winning the World Series. Seattle or Detroit. I think whoever comes out of that series is winning it. Probably because I don't want the Dodgers to win it. I don't want the Phillies to win it. But and the Brewers are kind of iffy. But I think the Mariners are like whoever wins the Mariners Tigers wins the World Series because I just think those two are the best teams in the league. Obviously, the Tigers had the whole collapse and everybody was scared about them, but it's like, okay, shut up. They're fine. They were the best team in the league for 7 months and they had a very short collapse. The Mets, I'll talk about them later. The Mets just had a very long collapse. That's why it was very alarming. The Tigers just had a very snap of it, quick collapse. And that's very, um, oh, the Tigers just had a very quick collapse, and I was not concerned about it. Obviously, if they missed the playoffs, I'd be concerned, but I'm not. I never was. I still think the Tigers are the best team in the AL. I think it goes Tigers. Actually, the Blue Jays are kind of proving me wrong. It's between the Blue Jays, Tigers, and Mariners. Obviously, I don't think the Yankees are there. Obviously, there's the three of the four teams left. Um, but I do see the Tigers and the Mariners winning that. Whoever wins that series, I think, is going to the World Series because I do not like the Blue Jays. I just think the Yankees just aren't good enough. I don't think they have the big hitters. They don't have the big moment guys. Um, but yeah, if you're the Yankees, you got to take this one game at a time. It's as plain and as simple as that. Your season is down to one loss now, and you're putting a guy who has been so shaky for the past couple of years, who finally had his first, I think, good season. He was good last year, but not like crazy good. But finally had his first good season as a Yankee. 18-9, 309 ERA, 203 strikeouts. That is a good season. That is a second line starter in the rotation. It could be an ace on some teams. It's not, but it could be. That is a good stat line, and there are positives to take away from this. But there is something concerning about how this season, like the Red Sox, I thought the Red Sox were going to win that series. I thought the Red Sox were going to sweep the floor with the Yankees because I just thought, I think the Red Sox have better pitching. They have the guy who probably should win the AL Cy Young. I love Screwball, but I just don't think he's, I just don't think. Oh, damn it. I lost my train of thought. Anyway. Oh, sorry. I thought the Red Sox pitching was better, and it was. And then Schlittler came in and proved me very, very wrong. So that was kind of disappointing. But then to really move on to that, it was I'm gonna have to move on from this because the Yankees are just so confusing. They're such a weird team. They looked pretty solid against the Red Sox. Like they could have swept the Red Sox in two. Like they had the base loaded, nobody out, and they didn't get a single run, which is wild. But like the Yankees could have swept the Red Sox, and I thought they would look better than this against the Blue Jays. I thought every game would be close, but I still saw the Blue Jays winning. It's just weird. Anyway, moving on. I don't know. I'll continue the baseball talk because this is going to be the very long part. It's my New York Mets. I didn't get to talk about this last time when it was a very hot topic. I'm at a loss. I was just at a loss for words. I was losing my mind in my dorm room like crazy. And it was so frustrating to watch a team that this is probably the least fun I had watching a Mets season, plain and simple. It was miserable. I think there were no bright spots. I mean, there was Soto, McLean. I still believe in Tong. I still believe in Sprout. Like, I still believe in those young guys. Alvarez looked good in the final stretch. Beatty finally had that breakout year. Vientos showed sparks, but I'm the biggest Vientos guy. I'm just scared he's going to lose his role and not be the guy anymore. Like, I love Vientos. I've been his biggest fan since day one, since I became like a diehard baseball fan, and since I started prospect watching. Mark Vientos has been my guy. And then he had last year's breakout year, and it was so satisfying to finally be gratified for that. Like, I thought he was gonna have a chance at Rookie of the Year last year because I was so confident in him, and then he did have that good season. He had that amazing postseason, and it is just I don't know what to do with him anymore. It makes me really sad. It really does. But there was positives. The young guys finally looked good, and Soto looks like an MVP. Lindor still had a good season, even though he went like 0 for 30 or something in the middle of the year. Like he still had an 802 OPS. He still had, I believe it was like 32 home runs. I think. I'm not exactly sure. I should just keep baseball reference open on my laptop. Um Again, real quick. 31. He had 31 home runs, had almost a 6-4 season, and he had an 0 for 30 something stretch. It is just like there are still so many. How did this team suck? Alonso had an 870 by the end of the year. Um Alonso had an 870, right? Yeah, 871, 3.4 WAR, not great. But 870 WAR, Nimmo was bad. I don't think he was 2.9. Like he was not good. 114 OPS plus. Simply not the Nimmo we gave that contract to, unlike last year, when even when he was last year, he had such a good hot start and it's just stayed the same. Actually, he had a better year than he did in 2024. But he was just more consistent because that second half fall off last year was so bad. Um Nimmo, Alonso, Lindor, around the whole McNeil. He better not play another game as a New York Met. Cool. He's been here for a while. Homegrown guy. But bye. Like you do not need this player anymore. He makes too much money. You can move off his contract. It is so annoying to watch this guy take up a roster spot sometimes because he cares. I can see that. Like he's slamming his helmet half the time into the ground whenever he's pissed. Like he's doing that probably the most on the team. But it is so just annoying to watch him play baseball because he has changed as of a player in the past 3 years. 2022, what was his 2022 season again? 5.9 WAR, 326 average, 836 OPS, playing multiple positions, 15th in MVP voting. All-Star. Silver Slugger. Won the Silver Slugger for it. Is this Silver Slugger for utility? No, he just won the second base Silver Slugger. Like it is so annoying to watch a player like this play on the game and change his game. Since then, 2.4 WAR, 1.62. He's been injured. He's missed like 30, 40 games a year. And he's completely changed. 270, 238, 243. He has all of a sudden changed his game from a slap hitter to a power hitter. He did this before, then fixed it, got back on track, made himself a 326, and then messed it up again. In the 2022 season, in the season that got him paid, in the season that he was the most successful, he had 9 home runs. What happened to that? And guess what? You've dropped so much power. You've gone for so much power. You're hitting 10, 12 home runs. What are you doing? Why are you changing this? Like it is so annoying to watch a player who was good at something just drop the good thing he was at, like the thing he was good at. Stick to the average. It is wild to me that somebody like this could change the way they play when they were so successful at it. You are not a power hitter, dude. You are skinny, scrawny. You're pretty tall. You're 6 foot, but like the guy weighs how much? Checking a baseball player weight. 195. He's actually, but anyway, like dude, you are not some power hitter. You just simply aren't. That's not the player you were. That's not the player who you are. You should be hitting. You should be hitting the ball the other way, getting on base, and causing chaos. That is simply who Jeff McNeil was in 2022, and that's why I loved him. He's lost that. Just completely changed the way he played, and it is just a disgusting thing to watch. A player like that just completely lose it. I don't know what to say. What the hell happened, Jeff? Get off the team. I hope he's traded. Now I want to move on to Pete because Pete is in the very interesting situation right now. I like Pete. I think he should be a lifelong Met, but depending on how much money he asked for. If Pete asked for 160 million dollars, buy. Like, I do not know what a fair contract is because one thing, I know it's not my money, but I've always been like mad when the Mets have a high payroll. It just bothers me because like, why are we sucking? We paying a lot of money. And I know money's not everything. It's about the whole organization. Um, it is just I am disgusted. I will get through almost everybody on this team that I am just disgusted with after the year they had. Pete is not a disgusted year, but he's the hot topic because he's already opting out of his contract. Um, just leave, please. You're not. If you want too much money, goodbye. It's as simple as that. I want you here, Pete. Every Mets fan wants you here. But if you ask for too much money, it's not my money, and I still don't want to pay you. It is just frustrating to watch that. And I'll move on from Pete because I've already talked about Pete. Who else? Oh, Cedric Mullins. Oh, where do I begin? The Tyrod Taylor injury was probably the biggest injury to this team. And I'll get through some of the injured players because there's a guy who I really want to talk about who I think really did signal the end of the season. The Tyrod Taylor injury, Tyrod Taylor is not a good hitter. He's simply not. But I remember back in 24, he was always there. Like, I don't think he was good in 24 as a hitter, but he was a solid 9-hole hitter. He played better defense than Mullins. He's a 1.2 WAR player, but that's mostly defense. He was a 2 WAR player last year. He had a 700 OPS. Like, he was not crazy, but he was a solid 9-hole hitter. And you have to assume that I think this is probably the biggest injury last year because down the stretch, if he doesn't get hurt, Cedric Mullins isn't a waste of a bat because Tyrod Taylor started to look good by the end of the year. He had that hot stretch. He finally looked like a good hitter. And it was it was so sad to see him get hurt. And then Cedric Mullins is playing every day. And here we are now everybody's in Cancun. I mean, Soto's literally posting pictures of him in Cancun. And he's now waiting for the Yankees. Aaron Judge will eventually be arriving in Cancun with him. But yeah, I don't know what happened to Tyrod Taylor's injury was the biggest, in my personal opinion. But let's move on to the pitching side because this is where I think the real downfall really happened. Because there are a lot of pitching problems this team ended up having, and I mean, hey, look, there was a guy on the market who's going to almost win the Cy Young this year that you could have traded for, and you didn't. He started a playoff game and threw 120 pitches and struck out. I think it was 12 in that game. Garrett Crochet would have fixed a lot of issues this team had. Now, I know it probably would have cost Jet or like, I don't care. If it cost McLean or Tong, I would have been okay. I would have been kind of sad about that because McLean and Tong, I still think are going to be aces. I still believe in Tong. I think he will be the best out of the three, which is kind of weird, even though McLean looked the best. I still believe in Tong the most. I just think he needs to develop that third pitch. But I'm jumping to conclusions. Crochet would have fixed a lot of issues, and if it costed like Jet, like Kyle Teal was the best prospect the Red Sox gave up. Kyle Teal is a solid player, but that's all for Garrett Crochet? What the hell? So that was just so frustrating because I really wanted him. He's 26. Like, it's not like you're trading from like 34-year-old starting pitcher. You're trading for a 26-year-old. You're at the time a 25-year-old turning 26, like who just had one of the nastiest small sample size seasons I have ever seen. Guy pitched 146 innings and had 209 strikeouts. That is totally 300 inning pace. That's totally 300 strikeout pace. And you're worried about giving up Justin. I like Jet, but Jet Williams, bye. You're trading for your future ace for years to come. But I don't know. He's not. I'll get to the prospects in a little bit. But just to talk, it is. Ugh, I'm just disgusted. Disgusted by the not making that trade. But let's talk about the guys pitching on the team. Because there's some guys who just Frankie Montas, like, okay, this is like, I love David Stearns. I think he is a good baseball president. Like, I still believe in David Stearns. I refuse to believe he's this big of an idiot like he had this year. But like, dude, sometimes you got to spend money on pitching. I get it. He spent $40 million on Manaea, and we'll get to that. But Frankie Montas is getting free $40 million. Dude, just because he has a good pitcher too does not mean he's a good pitcher. He has been bad for years, and you gave this guy $20 million. It is just like he had a 6.28 ERA, and he's getting paid $17 million a year with a player option. And he is going to accept that player option and not pitch a single game for the Mets next year. He just got a free, I believe, wait, how much is 17? 17 times plus 17, 34. He got a free $34 million to pitch 38 innings with a 6.28 ERA and a negative 0.6 WAR. But I think the pitching, I jumped to Frankie Montas because he was just the big talking point. But I think when the season really changed was two things, two pitching injuries. Kodai Senga and Griffin Canning. But I think I'll move on to Griffin Canning first. Griffin Canning tearing his I believe it was his Achilles, really hurt because Canning was good. This guy came in on, I think, like a $9 million deal. $4 million, and he was a Brave before that. And the Mets traded for him, and he looked good. 3.77 ERA, 1.1 WAR, 70 strikeouts, and 76 innings. Like, he was a good back end starter. The guy looked good, and it is so just annoying to see. It was so sad. I was watching the game, and then seeing him get up. You knew the season was kind of taking a little downturn, but I mean, genuinely, the guy looks like he'll be like a 4 WAR pitcher and help the team be a back end, maybe the 4th starter in the playoffs. And then injury and the torn Achilles just threw everything out of the way. And genuinely so frustrating watch a guy who looks so good in that small stretch to go down like that. Wish the best for him if he ever somehow sees this. But then, other than that, that was a big injury. And then the other big injury was Senga. Oh my God, wait, there's another injury after that. But Senga was also the downturn. The guy, I think before that, had a 1.21 ERA up to that point. And then he just lost it. Like, I don't know where did he get injured? He got injured on, I think he got injured. There was a big jump. No. Oh, yeah, no, right here. 6-12 against the Washington, he got injured. I don't remember, but I'm going to assume this is when he got injured. Since then, you pick that out. 4 earned runs, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. He didn't have a single good start after that injury. Not one. Oh, he did. He had 1 run, given up 1 run, but only in 4 innings. Like, that's, 4 and a third. It's just, he lost it. Like, obviously, and then they sent it out of the minors, and he wasn't good in the minors, and it was like, okay, who do we even start anymore? We're relying on 3 rookie starting pitchers to get us to the playoffs, who will be our 1, 2, 3 in the playoffs. What do you do? I'm at a loss for words. It is so frustrating. And then, like, this guy was on pace, I think, to win the Cy Young before that, because his worst start up to that point, up to that injury, was 3 earned runs. Not counting the one before that where he gave up 4. But, like, he had 3 earned runs, his highest earned start. He wasn't going a lot of innings, so he probably wouldn't have won it, but he wasn't as bad. Like, it was a creep. It was just creeping up and up every single time after every single start. And then finally, moving on to the last guy is Sean Manaea. I can't even be mad at Stearns for this because I wanted to keep Manaea. I did. Manaea was like, no Mets fan was going to be happy that they kept Manaea. Manaea looked like he figured something out. I mean, the guy changed his arm angle and looked dominant every time. It looked like at that last start he was out of gas. Like, his arm just gave out. He had pitched so many innings, like, for the first time in his career. But no, he looks like garbage. I don't know his exact stats, but he was definitely a negative WAR player. Negative 0.4 with a 5.64 ERA. And he didn't even have, like, a good start in there, right? Like, I think he was coming out of the bullpen at the end of the season. Had a 3 WAR season last year. Finished, I think, 10th. 11th in Cy Young voting. The guy looked good last year, and then he looked good in the playoffs. That 7 shutouts against Philly was amazing. Like, I watched this guy, and I was gonna be pissed if they didn't bring him back, and they did. They gave him the money he deserved, and boom, he fell off a cliff. Whoa. Just didn't mean to do that, and a little annoyed. But Benaya, like, I would have been mad if he didn't stay. And David Stearns did the right thing. He kept the good pitcher, and boom, drop. I'm doing the same hand gesture here, just doing a little slap of the wrist, the backhand, Hey, but it is just I have been so frustrated. I don't know. I will take the positives into this season that next year the Mets still have top 3 farm system in baseball. Some say number 1, but like that's crazy, by the way, how even this team that has such a high payroll still has such a high prospect pool. Like Carson Benj is going to be a 5-tool superstar. 5-tool superstar, excuse me. Jet Williams will hopefully be the second baseman of the future. Hopefully he doesn't turn into Brett Beatty 2.0 or who else? McLean, Tong, Sproat. I think Sproat will be a little more. I think Sproat won't be a ace because he had a really bad first half, and I still don't know how much I believe in Sproat. But Sproat, I think, could be a 3 or 4 starter on a very good team. I think that is his ceiling. Now, could he be an ace? Maybe, but he's a little older. He's 25, I think, for a prospect, and I still do see him as a future starter, back end 4 starter. I would say maybe a 3 starter. I think a 3 starter is most likely what he will be, and that's perfectly fine because you have 2 guys ahead of him who I think could be 1-2 starters and maybe just 2 1 starters. McLean and Tong. Now Tong showed a lot less than McLean, but Tong is 100% my guy in this system. I think he will be. I think he is the next Tim Lincecum. Now, Tim Lincecum didn't have the longest career, but Tim Lincecum had one of the most dominant peaks of his career. So, like, I believe all Tong has to do is develop that next pitch, and he will be good. And then McLean, I still believe it in. I don't know how like long McLean's. I don't know how high McLean's ceiling is. Could it be the next Jacob DeGrom? I hope so. It wouldn't hurt to see another DeGrom in Citi Field because, oh my God, the breaking balls look so good. Like they genuinely look, they were some of the nastiest pitches I've ever seen in my entire life with my own 2 eyes. But yeah, I mean, the Mets still have that top prospects. I don't know what you do up to this point, but a lot of changes need to be made. And they already made some of them with the coaching staff. Like Chavez is gone, Barnes is gone, Jeremy Hefner. I'm doing that right? Oh my God. I'm making sure. I just want to make sure. It is Jeremy Hefner. It is Jeremy Hefner. Okay. Jeremy Hefner's gone, which I was not expecting. He was like he was my guy. He was the one who lived through everything because he was like known as a pitching guru. He fixed pitchers. And I guess he couldn't fix the Mets pitchers this year. But yeah, the Mets had a frustrating year, hard to watch, but I just don't know anymore. I've been so frustrated with this team. I'm not excited for next season, even no matter what they do. Until they are holding the World Series trophy, I will never believe in a Mets team again. And I think 2025 has broken me because I thought 2024 was going to be the year. That kind of broke me when they lost. And then 2025 happens after that. That has completely shattered me. But yeah, I will be moving on from baseball because I'm going to need a little break from that. So
This is WIUR Radio.
Hi, I'm Morgan Beastie from the Ionian, and I hope you're enjoying today's show. Are you looking for the latest scoop on campus news, sports, and more? Check out the Ionian University's very own award-winning student newspaper. We keep you up to date with everything happening on and off campus. Want to know about the big game, the latest campus event? It's all in the Ionian. Join the conversation. Read, write, and get involved. Visit www.theionian.org or pick up a copy around campus. Stay informed, stay connected. Now, back to WIUR, Iona University Radio.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Testing 1 2 1 2. All right. Now moving on to our next topic. Hockey season starts tonight at 5 o'clock, 2 hours from now. The first game is being played between the Florida Panthers and the Chicago Blackhawks. After that, we have the hometown Rangers playing the classic Pittsburgh Penguins. Classic rivalry. Always got to be an opening night. And I believe after that, we have the Kings and the Kraken, I believe. I don't know the NHL slate as much. It is Avalanche Kings. Excuse me. This is a very interesting season because a lot of things have changed over the offseason. Not team-wise. A lot of big contracts have been signed. This has been such a such a crazy NHL year for contracts because the CBA came out earlier this year before the draft, and it was really announced that the salary cap is going to skyrocket. Like, it is going to shoot up. We're going to see like $120 million soon in salary cap. The flat cap is gone. We are done with the flat cap era. We will start seeing crazy contracts. And that's a positive to me because, I mean, Kirill Kaprizov just signed a $17 million contract. And I thought he was going to be an Islander but nothing interesting happens because also Connor McDavid signed his contract extension. And I will get to that because that is wild how much money he left on the table. But Kirill Kaprizov is a superstar in this league. And I really wish he didn't sign because I wanted something to happen next year. Because now next year's free agency class looks garbage. I believe Makar is the highest, and I don't even think he's a free agent. I think he's a restricted free agent still. Because we've started to reach the point where the 2015 draft guys are free agents in 2026. Like, they are UFAs now because they're all 28, 29. So the 2016 guys, I think, are starting. And the next year after that, it will be the Makars. And I think he's just going to stay in, oh my God, look at the fall off here. Panarin. Like, after, Panarin's not a bad player, but Panarin, not counting Price. Bobrovsky, 38. Eichel's 30, but he's going to sign. Like, nobody's worried about that. Eichel is very old. Oh, at the time, he'll be almost 30. But Eichel's going to sign. Ovechkin's going to retire. Makar is actually going to be a UFA. I'm actually kind of surprised. Makar's going to be 28. So he will be in the prime age of free agency. John Carlson will be like, all these guys are so old. Like, Jacob Trouba is high on this list. Patrick Laine is high on this list. Carlson, Weber is on this list. Jason Robertson is going to be a restricted free agent, and he's probably the most interesting one. Kyle Connor, Kyle Connor might be the only free agent next year, and I actually wouldn't be shocked to see that because it's Winnipeg. No player really likes to stay in Winnipeg, and he's also American. So maybe that might be a little interesting at the time. Kevin Hayes is on here. Like, I don't know. Anders Lee, Islander captain. I'll get to that later when I do some previews of the NHL season. Adrian Kempe. Now, he's interesting because I think he wants like $11 million. Not saying he doesn't deserve that, but he's a good player. But $11 million for Adrian Kempe? With the flat cap, that would have been crazy to say he would have got like 8x8. But I don't think it's crazy to say. Excuse me, I'm trying to get the microphone to lock in. Fuck. All right, I just gotta hold it. Excuse me, sorry about that. I just had to hold my microphone's being a little finicky. But like, this free agency class went from like stacked, and no, obviously last year was supposed to be stacked too, and then it ended up falling off. Like, Mikko Rantanen looked like he was going to be a free agent, and then all right, there we go. I had to fix it. But Mikko Rantanen was supposed to be whoa, dude, I might have messed something up. I'll just hold it. Like, it is. This free agency was supposed to be so good. And then it fell off because everybody signed because nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happens. Wait. Nothing happens ever. Nothing happens ever. Like, we never get anything interesting. It's so just disgusting. But moving on, let's move back to the season because, I'm going to have to get to the McDavid. I'll get to the McDavid contract first, actually, before we move on to the previews of the season and stuff. Wow. Like, the Oilers, like, it's pretty much as simple as that. The Oilers have 3 years, 2026, 2027, 2028. If they do not win the Stanley Cup, they have failed the McDavid era. He's leaving because I think McDavid realizes that that's their window. Even McDavid knows that the window is 3 years. Draisaitl's 30. Draisaitl's turning 30. McDavid's turning 29. The entire core is in their mid-20s or late 20, early 30s. Like Evan Bouchard is the young guy. Now they have Isaac Howard and Matthew Savoy. So like they do have those young guys coming through the pipeline. But is that enough? Like, are those two young guys? Like, I don't even know how much Isaac Howard just gonna be the next Jimmy Vesey. No, I think that's a little rude to him. But like these Hobie Baker awards, yes, it's hard to win, but with them winning it as a senior, it's not as impressive as a Macklin Celebrini or a Jack Eichel. I think Jack Eichel won the. But it's just not as impressive because it's been proven that a senior winning it doesn't mean really success, guaranteed success. But the Oilers have a 3-year window. It's just plain and simple. And if McDavid's going to leave from what it seems like, when his contract is up, if the Oilers do not win, their window has been shut. Like I think McDavid knows that. I think that's why McDavid signed to this contract because he knows that the window is shut at that point. Now, the interesting part is that they immediately got $7 million. They had $7 million free for that. They threw it away and gave it. Jake Wallman's a good player, but giving a 7x7 to Jake Wallman with the money you saved on the McDavid contract is, in my opinion, not good use of that money. I like Jake Wallman. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player, electric attitude, but I mean, have you seen that guy's TikToks? They're hilarious. But just thinking about that stupid one. But it is just so frustrating to watch the Oilers mess this up. Instead of going to spend that money on a goaltender or trade for a goaltender, they're running Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard back out there. It is just, I don't know what the Oilers are doing anymore. You're going to waste McDavid again for 3 years, I feel. Like, I think they're getting worse. They're getting older. They're getting worse. Now, McDavid, I think, is going to be more motivated again. And I don't think the Panthers, but spoiler, the Panthers are not my cup pick anymore because of the Barkov and Kachuk injury. Like, I think there is a crazy possibility that they miss the playoffs because I think there is a lot of teams that are going to take a next step that could make the playoffs. And I think the Panthers will be so injured and so just dead tired. They have played so much hockey these past 3 years. They've played in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 straight years. That is playing until June 3 straight years. Like that is such a long, you getting such short rest. This team is dead tired. And I think they'll just run out of gas this year. And if it's because of the big injuries, mixed with the big injuries, it's like they're one Bobrovsky injury away from playing. I believe it was, is it Voronkov? I'm not exactly sure. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna move on from that. But like they are one Bobrovsky injury away from having their backup goalie, who was the worst backup in the league who was the worst goalie in the league last year. Oh, Tarasov. Tarasov from Columbus. That's his name. Had to get that right. He's their backup right now. And I think I could see them making a trade. But like if Bobrovsky gets hurt, it's over. And the guy's 30, 37. There's a high chance, I feel, that there's going to be an injury. Because, I mean, plus the fatigue on the body. I mean, a goaltender is probably the hardest position to play in hockey, and you are playing it. He's played it for so many years. He's played it for so much time. He's played it in such a short. He's played so much hockey in such a short amount of time. I really could see him getting injured. So he is not they're not my cup pick, and I could see them even missing the playoffs. It is entirely possible. I know Kachuk could be back by December, but still, I really could see the shock, like a shock of the year be they missed the playoffs. And I think my big shocker team this year, it's going to be the Flyers. I really like the Flyers this year. Now, I think the only thing that stops me from really thinking they're going to be a good team, it's the goaltending. Dan Vladar and I believe it was Fedotov. It might not be. Oh, wait. Fedotov was just traded. I don't know who their backup is right now, but Vladar is their starter, I think. That's not good. Like, Dan Vladar is not a good. It should not be a starter. He should be a backup on a bad team. Like, he was a good backup on. I feel like he was a good backup on. I feel like he was a good backup on Calgary, but it's just he's lost it. He's completely. He's not a good starter. So they're my team. That's like okay. Maybe if their goalie breaks out, we could see that. But they're one of the teams, and I think a lot of people are very low for some reason, which kind of shocks me. A lot of people are low on the Red Wings. Oh, sorry, no, not the Red Wings. I'm very low on the Red Wings. The Sabres. I really like the Sabres this year, and I think they could finally break the playoffs. And what I mean by that is I think Montreal falls off. I think Montreal is not good. They're good. Like they have Demidov, they have Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Hudson. But like, I'm an Dobson hater, obviously. Now, I've always been, and now I'm like a super Dobson hater. But like, if there's one team that I think will completely fall off, it will be the Canadiens. They were the luckiest team last year. Sam Montembeault was dragging them to the playoffs, even though it seems like he was not doing much. He was dragging them to the playoffs. And I think Sam Montembeault is a good goaltender, but can he maintain what he was doing last year? I don't think so. Can he do that? No. So I think the biggest shocker will be either Florida misses the playoffs or Buffalo makes the playoffs. Buffalo is my shocking team. I'm very high on Buffalo. They have to be good one year. Do I think Lindy Ruff's a good coach? No. Do I think Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is a good goaltender? Not really. Do I think Devin Levi is could be a good starter? Yeah, I do. Like he was a high overall prospect. He can be a good goaltender. I refuse to believe that I like the Kessel Ring Doan trade but it's obviously Peterka, and you're losing such a good player at such a young age, 23, turning 24. But Doan, Kessel Ring are very good players on their own. They deserve that love. They're not getting, but like Thompson's 29. Tuck is a free agent, so he was going to have a big year. Dahlin, I think, wants to get over that hump, especially after that rumor that he was like really pissed off and wanted to go to wanted to get traded. Power, I think, could take a next step. I'm not the biggest Power guy, but I think he could take that next step. I don't know, but like there are pieces here for Buffalo that like this team can be good, and I am a very big believer in them, and I'm kind of surprised that nobody is, because I think what they need to do is I think they need to make a big trade. I think this team needs that big superstar, and they have that. They have Thompson. I think Thompson's a superstar. The guy's then one of the grossest players I've ever seen. Guy's like 6'5" and dangling around people with like the speed of light. It's crazy. But also Josh Norris. Josh Norris needs to bounce back. I think he can be. If he stays healthy, he's a good player. Plain and simple. But I think Buffalo is my biggest shock team this year. If the goaltending rolls right, even though Lindy Ruff's not the greatest coach. And my biggest shock fall-off team, not a shock, would be the Canadiens. I was going to say my biggest fall-off team would be the Canadiens. But the biggest shock fall-off team, it would be the Panthers because of the injuries and just how tired their bodies are probably now. My favorite team going into this year, yeah, it's Buffalo. I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah, I think my Stanley Cup pick, it's kind of hard because I don't know who I want to win the Stanley Cup this year. Obviously I want the Islanders to win the Stanley Cup, but that's not happening. I would say the Devils. I'm a big Devils guy because I think if they stay healthy, they could win the Cup. Kings, I think, fall off. I was a big Kings guy. I thought the Kings were going to win the Cup last year, and they lost in the first round to McDavid, which really kind of pissed me off. But Vegas, I don't think will. They got destroyed by Edmonton, and obviously without Marner, but I don't think Marner really helps their issues. Like they're just getting a year older. Now they're obviously Vegas, so they're still going to be good, but I don't know about how good. And I don't think they'll be Stanley Cup. Oh, it's really hard to think about. I'm not going to go Colorado. I was actually very low on Colorado, and I was going to say they were going to be my big shock to like miss the playoffs, but I kind of have that bias because I kind of they do because they don't just have their pick. So I don't want it to be as high as possible. I want it to be in like the mid-20s, but I don't want to go Dallas because I've picked Dallas a lot. Like I picked Dallas before I picked the Kings last year. No, I think I'm confident. I think I'm going to go with the Devils this year. I think the Devils are going to be my Stanley Cup team. I think they are just so good when healthy that like their decor is like probably the best I've seen in the league. Like if Jacob Markstrom has a better season, he wasn't even that good last year. He had like a 906, which is not bad, but it's not like good. It's not like a 9 in the 910s or even like the 920 range. Like we've seen Markstrom do it before. So they are my Cup team. And speaking of it, I think we move on to my final segment because it's been a very long one. And have an event you want to promote, reach out to us or stop by the Rick Studio so we can help you and get your club to help you and your club get an ad with us here at WIRU. WIUR. Shout out to our next show of the week, Iona Gales. Make sure to check their show out every Friday at 11, only on WIRU Radio. WIUR Radio. Damn, I cannot do reading ads. Got to work on that in practice. So for the final part, I think we talk about the local teams. I think we start with a season preview of all three teams. My favorite team, the Islanders, the Rangers, who played tonight, and the Devils, who are my Stanley Cup team now. I think we start with the Islanders because they're my team, and I probably talk about them for the longest. But now I said this before, and so let's get it out of the way. Matthew Shaver made the team. I'm not shocked, but I'm nervous because he's hopefully the future friend. Hopefully he's the next Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar. Do I think he will be? No, but do I need him to be a franchise defenseman? Like, I think he will be. I think it'll take time. Guy's 2 weeks older than me. He was born September 15th. I was born October 5th. So, like, he's barely older than me. But, like, I really believe in what the Islanders are building. And I think there are a lot of positives to take away from this season. I think there will be. I think we will see Yzerman in the NHL this year by the end of the year when college hockey is over. I think we will see not Eklund. I don't think we'll see Eklund this year. I mean, we could. Kayshawn's going to be a little while longer. I think Kayshawn will be this year and next year, and then we'll see him. I think 2 years. I think his timetable is a little different because I think he is a more raw player, unless he dominates the OHL, which I think he's already doing. Like, he's a good player, and I believe Kayshawn Anderson will be the second pairing guy of the future. But I think this team could be like the best team in 3 years by my senior year of college, which I really hope. I mean, obviously, I want this team to win Stanley Cups in my lifetime. But like in 2-3 years, this team could have had probably the best team in the league. Young superstars in the league. Because I think you look at this team, it is so developed. You have one. They have a lot of assets coming into this year that can be traded. Lee, on a retained salary, 3.5, a guy who puts up 50, 60 points a year. Perfect. Any team's going to want a gritty captain, a great leader. I think it's more realistic that he stays as an Islander because he probably wants to be here. He loves the island. And I could really see him staying. But if he says, hey, I want to go win a cup, and then maybe I'll come back in the offseason and it gets us more assets. Hey, dude, Lee, do that, please. Say, hey, trade me to this team. You'll get assets for him, and then I'll come right back here. That would be amazing. You could get a first round pick for Lee, I think, if a team is desperate enough. Because at the deadline, I don't think a lot of teams will be selling at the deadline this year. The Penguins will be. I think the Penguins sell early, so I don't think they'll be the deadline team. Like Raquel, Carlson, even Crosby, maybe. Even Malkin. Like, those guys are going to be traded probably before the deadline if they are. I don't think Crosby will be, but, like, those three guys could be. Like, other than the Penguins, I don't think there are a lot of teams have those assets to sell. The Islanders have Lee, who I think can get a first-round pick for. Pajot, you can get a ton of assets for probably at the deadline because people need that third-line center. We just saw how big of a role a third line played for the Panthers to win the Stanley Cup. You have Tony D'Angelo, who might get you like a third-round pick by the deadline. He's making $1 million, and he puts up like 30, 40 points. Very impressive. Now you have what else? Excuse me. Jonathan Druin and Kyle Palmieri are also on because they're on 2-year deals, and you could probably get more assets for them if you trade them at the deadline with that. They're on good deals, only about $4 million, which is not bad at all. But like you are telling me this team could be in a very good spot by 2027, 2028. Like they could be. Oh, who was like really young and up and coming at that time? Oh, the Avalanche. The Avalanche, obviously, I wish the Islanders had more success than the Avalanche. The Islanders won a cup, but I mean, like multiple cups. They should have won multiple cups, but they never did. But Like the Avalanche were young upcoming. McKinnon was like 24. McCarr was like 21. Rantanen was like 22. Like they were all such young guys in 2017, 18, 19. They were that young up and coming team. And then what else after that? And then you have Drew and Palmieri. Like those are the two big choices. But like this team could be in such a good spot by the end of next year. And I think it is very cool to see that. And I think from where it was just last year, where I was losing my mind over this team chasing a wild card spot, because I knew we weren't good enough. I knew this team was never going to win a cup if they played like this, and they were going to be heading down the barrel of mediocrity for 15 years. Like it was so bad. It was going to be another mid 2000s Islanders where they were just bad, not bad enough to get the first overall pick, be picking in the 8 or 9 range, and be miserable and never get that top prospect. Like this year, I could see them drafting McKenna. And is that realistic? No. But like even if they don't, Viggo Bork, Ivar Stenberg, Rubrick, Tynan Lawrence, like you have even Keen Verhoff. There are so many prospects that I think like the Islanders could pick next year, and it'd change the future entirely. Now, moving on, I don't know if we'll have time for the Devils, but I think we'll finish off with the Rangers because they play tonight. The Rangers who play Penguins, I've already brought this up. They're so weird, man. I just don't trust the Rangers anymore. They can't develop young players. It is so weird how they can. They've had so many top picks, and I could honestly see Alexi Lafreniere being traded this year because of how much they have failed to develop those players. Like Brandon Othman's going to probably be a bust. Gabe Perreault was just sent down to the AHL. They traded for Scott Morrow, who's got sent down to the AHL. Like these guys are all, their entire core is in their like mid 30s, and they just never know how to develop a player. And so weird, so frustrating to watch these such young, talented players get sent to the Rangers, sent to the hellhole of the Rangers franchise and fall apart. Do I think this team's a playoff team? Yes. Do I think they're a cup contender? No. Shesterkin could steal a series, yeah. But once they run into a team, like obviously I think the Carolina Hurricanes are never going to beat the Rangers. But like once they run into a Panthers, if they run into a Tampa, if they run into a Devils, I just see the Devils winning that series more likely than the other team. It is just plain and simple. I do not see the Rangers as serious threats. I think they're stuck in the mediocrity range. And they do have their pick for this year because they gave up their last year pick, which was I think in range 11 to 12. So they had their pick last year, and now they move on to this year with their pick. They can trade at the deadline if they're good, which I don't even know if they are. The Metro's weak, but I do not see the Capital. Like a lot of people have the Capitals falling off. They're not. They're going to be good. They're really young. Ilya Alexi Protas, Cole Hudson's coming up through the system. Connor McMichael took that step. Ovechkin's final year, you don't want to ruin. Like I don't see them falling off. I think they'll be top 3 in the Metro. Like the Rangers are going to be probably competing with all the Atlantic teams for that first and second wild card spot. And when push comes to shove, I do not see them taking that spot from those two teams. I could either see them second wild card or out of the playoffs and falling apart. Panarin probably leaves if that's the case. If you go on a deep playoff run, maybe you keep Panarin, but maybe he lasts for a lot of money and you don't want to pay him that because he's older. Like they are in such a bad situation. Like they are in an Islanders situation with, like they're in the same situation as the Islanders were for a while. They have better talent than the Islanders did those 22, 23, 24 seasons. Like they still have more talent than the 22, 23, 24 Islanders did. But like they have Panarin, Miller, Zibanejad. But do I see this team as Gavrikov? I think Fox bounces back. Like I can see all these guys being seriously good players. It's just weird to see, weird to look at, and I have no idea what is going to happen with this team. And for now, we move on to the final team, my new cup contenders, New Jersey Devils. It is as plain and simple. You got to stay healthy. I think they play tomorrow instead. I've been slouching all day, and I need to stop that. Yeah, they play Thursday, and they play the same day the Islanders do. So their home opener is also not on the same day. They play in Tampa. Wow, they've all down the West Coast, down the East Coast a little bit. But the Devils are my cup favorite now. I think they are the best team in the Metro, other than the Hurricanes. I could see the Hurricanes winning, but I never see them as serious contenders because I think they just play. Rob Brindamore does not know how to adapt as a coach, but let's not get into a Hurricanes ramble. We're in New Devils ramble. The Devils are, if Jack Hughes stay healthy, I see them in the Eastern Conference Final this year. At least. Like, I could see them winning. I should be muting when I cough. I could see them winning Markstrom, Allen, good tandem. Nemec, Hughes, Luke Hughes, Hamilton, Siegenthaler, Kovacevic. That is such a good detail. I'm not even counting. Is it Seamus Casey? It might be. Yeah, it's Seamus Casey, right? He's a double. Yeah, like they have such a good decor. It is frustrating. This team should be good. This team will be good, and I'm so confident that they will be. I think this team will win the Stanley Cup if they're healthy. But that's every team. I think every team can win the Stanley Cup if they're healthy. Obviously, other than the Sharks, the Ducks. So every actual serious contender could win the Cup if they are healthy. But I think the Devils have just struggled with so much injuries. I think the fact that they played pretty solid against the Hurricanes, they stood in really no chance, but that makes sense because they didn't have Hughes. They didn't have was Siegenthaler hurt last year? He might have been. He was. Yeah, he was hurt. Played 3 games. There are so many injuries this team needs to recover from, and they will have that. And I think this team will be good enough. This team is good enough to win the Stanley Cup. It is, can the team stay healthy enough to win the Stanley Cup? Well, my show is almost up. We've actually dragged this out very long. So I'm very surprised. This has very much shocked me. I didn't expect this. A few more things before I head out. Very excited for the hockey season. I didn't talk about football today because what is there to talk about in football? It's the same thing every single week. What are we talking about? There's nothing new ever in this sport. But football might not be a talking point until either the Jets have something interesting other than losing to talk about, and the Giants have something interesting to talk about. Even though they did, Jackson Dart was good, but he wasn't a world breaker, but he's a rookie quarterback. But that's why I didn't talk about football this week, because I had a lot to catch up on baseball and a lot to catch up on hockey. So I think that's going to do it. It's going to do it for today. A great show, my longest show, I'd say my most well-spoken show. So I'm going to end it here. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.